before we do anything in this video, welcome. Can you just spend a moment just listening to the bird song? Can you hear that outside my window? I'm going to light a candle for Robin Williams. Okay, so this is a video in a series that I'm making for the 1010 portal, and I started it last Sunday. It's Wednesday the 9th when I make this. It's going to be released on the 10th of October. Somebody's just informed me that tomorrow, 1010, is World Mental Health Day. So it feels very appropriate to be doing this. Is the last channeling that I'm doing in this series anyway. I'll do some more in November with Robin, because we're going to be touching on mental health and suicide as part of this video. So before we do anything, I would like to just say a little prayer, okay? So I'm just going to call in Archangel Metatron. I'm going to call in Archangel Michael and Mother Mary to be present with us, to bring healing to the subject of mental health, and also to bring healing to anybody whose lives have been touched by having lost somebody to suicide, as well as bringing healing to anybody who has had suicidal thoughts. Wrapping you all in love, angelic protection and strength. So there was a lot more to Robin than just his battle with mental health. He was known as this amazing comedian who made us all laugh and smile. I have to say Mrs. Doubtfire is one of my favourite films of all time. You see, even just thinking of him and the work that he did, it brings a smile to your face. And so it's really important to remember that aspect of him as well. But I think I'm going to start off, before I bring him formally in to speak to us, I'd just like to give a nod to the day he was born and the day he died, because there's something quite interesting with the numbers, okay? So let's just firstly put his photograph up, okay? And it's interesting because when I look into his eyes, it's like I'm looking into my own eyes. I really feel an affinity there and a soul group connection to Robin. He's got exactly the same eyes that I've got. And he also has 8 as a colour numerology energy that I have as well. I'm a number 8. He was born July the 21st. In fact, that's 2 days before me as well. I'm the 23rd. So he's a Cancerian. There seem to be a lot of Cancerians within the Heart Squad. So another Cancerian in the house. He was born July the 21st, 1951. If you add all those digits up, it comes to 26-8. He died on August the 11th, 2014, which comes to 17-8. It's really that number 8 that I want to look at. Number 8 is linked to when he was born. Number 8 is linked to when he died. Number 8 is, of course, the symbol of infinity. So, of course, nobody ever really dies. We live on, our soul lives on. And I feel after a period of recuperation and healing that he's had on the other side, and he's saying he's been very well cared for and tended to, he really now is wanting to come back out and to use his voice in a different way, actually, to maybe how it was used when he was alive here on Earth. So I am always amazed at the perfection of spirit when they bring these things together. I just sort of catch up. And the fact that I'm sitting down here, as I say, doing this video to go out on World Mental Health Day, and Robin is the last person that I'm looking at in this series of 5 that I've brought through this week, is extraordinary to me. Now, those of you that have watched the other Heart Squad videos that I've put up today, I'm going to say today, on the 10th, which consist of Prince, George Michael, Princess Diana, and who was the other person? John Lennon that I've done. They've all brought through a friend or a person, and I've channeled that person. I'm not sure whether Robin is going to do that. We'll see how we go. I have heard the name Kate Spade around him. There's obviously a nod to the fact that Kate also committed suicide. She was also one of these people that was very, apparently very bubbly and happy. Nobody saw it coming. But I think more than that, he doesn't want for the suicide tag to follow both of them. It's also about that Kate was very brilliant in her field, okay, and left her mark in a different way. So I feel as though Kate might come forward at some point. I don't know whether it's going to be this video, but there is somebody who is alive still that Robin is linking to today, and that is Alda. Remember Alan Alda from MASH? I grew up with MASH, and very good-looking guy, you know, very languid, and his body language was very languid. And I heard Robin talk about Alan this morning when I was just getting ready. And I have just gone onto Google and I typed in Robin Williams, Alan Alda. And I found a beautiful tribute that Alan wrote the day after Robin died. And I'm going to read it out because I think it's a really lovely introduction to Robin. I'll do that in one moment. I will just say another couple of things that have happened this morning because it helps you to understand how the energy builds so that these souls can come through and talk to us, and how I make my connection. I woke up this morning feeling quite tired. Not sure whether I really was going to do this video today because I knew it was going to be a big video. It's an important video. Turned on the radio and there is the thought of the day. I need to find out who it was because I came in late to the kitchen. It'll be up probably online by tomorrow. I might try and put it as a little post below. If it will be perfect, I'm sure, and resonant with what we're talking about here. Radio 2, thought of the day, and it was talking about depression and suicide. So I thought, oh, okay, right, this is the energy that we need to be bringing through and talking about today to try and highlight it, to try and help other people. But even this morning getting ready for this video, I felt like I really wanted to dress down. I didn't want to dress up. I just wanted to dress down in many ways. And I went to put a necklace around my neck because if you've watched me, you'll know that I always wear jewellery. I've got an amazing collection of jewellery. None of it's diamonds and pearls, you know, it's mostly costume jewellery. Well, I've got some nice crystal stuff, but I always wear jewellery. And I put a piece of jewellery around my neck and it felt really uncomfortable. And I thought, I can't wear this. So I took it off and I thought, that's weird. And then I went to put a scarf around my neck, and that was even worse. It was like, I can't wear a scarf. I thought, what's this about? And then in my mind, I thought, oh, okay, I think he hanged himself. And I thought, actually, the words went through my mind were, please God, I hope he didn't hang himself. And then I looked it up, and he did hang himself. So it was I felt a request from Robin for some healing light to be sent to him as well. Because even though he's in spirit and even though he's in much better shape than he was, what you have to understand is that when you are in spirit, you carry on your healing journey. It isn't just one defined moment where a magic wand gets waved. You know, lots of people talk about the fact that you have a life review, which does happen, and you do get immediate healing when you pass over. But then there are, a bit like in life, there are other layers that you can unpeel. So I feel as though Robin is actually sending out like a little bit of an SOS, but not in a really bad way, just for us to light a candle for him today. And that's what I've done, and that's what I know other people are doing on my Facebook page today on the 9th, because I've asked them to. So thank you, anybody that's done that. Okay, anything else to say before we get going, Robin? No, I think I'm going to read this thing from Alan Alda. Okay, it's not that long, but it's very beautiful and it leads us nicely into Robin's energy, and then I'll bring him in through the Rainbow Bridge. So Alan Alda, day after Robin died, says this. within minutes, we were telling one another he was gone. His genius that had burned so hot was cold, and the whole country felt the chill at once. For years we had watched with awe as a Niagara of wit poured from his unconscious. Where did that manic waterfall of funny have its source? And where did his fearlessness come from? The night that he and Jane Fonda and I hosted the Academy Awards show together, he kept coming up with outrageous jokes in the wings. But before he went out on stage, he seemed to be using me as his taste monitor. He would think of a line and say, "Is that too tasteless?" Invariably, I'd say, "Yes, it's too tasteless." And invariably, he'd go on stage and say the line and kill with it. Unfortunately, sometimes the mind that runs so fast can't keep up with itself and also has its downtime. I didn't know that he suffered from depression, although it doesn't surprise me, but it makes me want to do something. I hope it makes all of us want to do something. While the whole country and much of the world feels this moment of sadness at his death, can we turn the loss of this artist we loved so much into something that pushes back against the ravages of despair? Can we educate one another to recognise the early signs of depression? Can we make it clear to one another how dangerous it is? We all know that drink driving kills, but when I looked up the numbers, I was astonished. Each year, there are more than twice as many suicides attributed to depression as deaths on the road due to alcohol. Maybe our grief can be transformed into an awakening. The man who enriched our lives could be the focus of saving countless other lives. Robin Williams could be with us a little longer. Interesting that Alan uses the analogy about alcohol, because Robin had a very well documented battle with alcohol addiction. I would like to say at this point that before people comment below, that I'm very aware that he also was diagnosed after his death with something called LBD. I'd never heard of it before. It's called Lewy body dementia. It's a brain disease, basically, which can give Parkinson-like symptoms. It can lead to delusions, memory loss, hallucinations. I know his late wife wrote an article where she linked the LBD diagnosis to almost like, oh, that's sort of the reason why he committed suicide, because of the devastation that illness was having upon him. I think what I would like to say to that is that when we look back at the life of the man, you can actually see that there were episodes of depression and addiction that followed him through his life, moments of trouble. So it was very much a life of peaks and lows. So whatever the actual trigger was for the moment where he decided he wanted to pass, whether it was the LBD, whether it was depression, whether it was a combination of the two, I know that he wants us to talk about mental health, okay, and to raise awareness of it. So without any more delay, let's bring him through. And I'm going to do it in the traditional way that I always do it, which is with Archangel Metatron, and we're going to build a rainbow bridge for Robin. Okay. So I'm using, as I always do, the rainbow bridge spray, which helps me to connect to him. I will also say that I've also got some other sprays here to support me in this work today. I've got the water elemental, because I very much heard Metatron say what we need to be is like the bridge that flows underneath the water, so that our emotions can be carried somewhere safe, rather than become like a dam whereby we feel as though it's like that moment of explosion, which can result in us doing something that we may regret. Okay, so I've got the water elemental to support us. Let's just put that around us as we're watching this video. So I'm very much intending this to be a healing video for everybody watching. And I'm also going to use the bluebell bridge, which is for loss and grief. Let's create our rainbow bridge, guys. So where you are now, just putting your feet down into Mother Earth, calling in Archangel Metatron, and we are asking Metatron to build a beautiful rainbow bridge for Robin. And the rainbow bridge gets built and it's lit up. I've never seen this before. The rainbow bridge is lit up and it's got, what do they call them? Not spotlights, the lights that are on the ground. It's got lights, it's lit up by lights either side of the bridge. It's very beautiful. I've never seen it like that before. So a bridge which has got lights, like beacons of light, all the way from Earth to what we're calling heaven, other dimension. And the lights go on either side of it. Okay. And then we're just being invited to join with Metatron on the brow of the bridge, at the top of the bridge. And Metatron is now the one that is calling Robin to be with us, inviting Robin to be with us today. And the first thing I see is a robin. I actually see a little bird, a robin bird. And the robin is just like hopping along the bridge. And it's almost as though Robin Williams is personified by this robin. And it's as though his essence is within the robin. He will become Robin Williams again, as we remember him. But at the moment, I'm seeing the robin. And it's like he's speaking through this robin bird. And he's saying, because I always like to dress up. I always like to dress up. I always like to put on a character. And so therefore, putting on the character and the costume of this robin, this bird, he's having a bit of fun with it. And he's saying how wonderful it feels to be a bird, how freeing it feels. He's also saying how wise birds are, because birds have this ability to migrate when it gets too cold or too hot. He's saying, they just fly off to the other side of the world, and then they come back when they know that it's good weather for them. It's going to be welcoming. So he said, birds seem to have a lot of wisdom here. I think I might come back as a bird, but he's joking. So he's bringing the energy of the robin and the bird. Okay, and he's saying, in all seriousness, he's saying it's much easier for me to come still, even in spirit, in a costume. He's saying, how daft is that? He's saying, and I did that a lot in life. It was much easier for me to turn up with either a costume or the persona of Robin Williams in terms of what people expected of me. They expected me to be a certain way, to look a certain way, to dress a certain way. And so I put on the costume of what Robin Williams was and what people expected Robin Williams to be, very much in the same way that I might have dressed in a costume for one of my films. He's saying it wasn't because I was trying to deceive anybody, or I was trying to, it wasn't because I was trying to deceive anybody or be false. It was just because I was trying to please. He's saying it was all about, he seems to have an energy of being, I wanted to say, Robin, is it okay to say this? Because I don't want to offend you. It's like a people pleaser. He's saying it's fine. Spit it out, girl. He's saying many people are people pleasers. He's saying many people have that trait, and it's as though they are frightened of letting go of that. And he speaks so fast. I need to slow you down a bit, Robin. He's saying it's underlying it all is this fear of rejection. He's saying it's about a fear of rejection, why we try to please the whole time, and why we will turn up and be what people expect us to be in any one moment. He says, but of course the people that live with us are the ones that really see the other side of us. He says it's not necessarily the real us, it's the other side of us. Okay. So are you able now, Robin, just to let go of that costume of the Robin and just show us yourself now, your true essence? He's saying, yes, sure. Okay. So it's like, he is funny because he is like wearing this blinking bird costume. It's like I can see his head now. He's taken the head off this bird costume. He's like tossing that over. He's stepping out of the costume. Okay. And he's dressed very simply. Okay. He's dressed in slacks. He's wanting me to say, yes, I do have a belt on. Okay. We won't go. That's because he hung himself with a belt. Okay. But it's like, yes, I do have a belt on. He's saying, don't fear the belt. Okay. Although actually no, sorry. Gosh, it's going to be difficult. He speaks so fast, guys. As you remember him in life, he's here, there, and everywhere. He's quite scattered still. So he's also now saying, when he was just saying don't fear the belt, he's also now taking me to a tour that he did, which I believe was called Weapons of Mass Destruction. And he's saying, isn't it ironic that we can fear being blown up by weapons of mass destruction in terms of nuclear weapons, but actually the thing that can actually get us in the end is a leather belt. He's saying, don't do that, guys. Don't do that. He's saying, live your life and enjoy your life. He's not letting me talk about what he looks like yet. He's wanting to get into the real meat of it all. Because he's saying, slow down, Robin, slow down. Breathe. What are you trying to say? Okay, he's saying, because to be still, Amanda, and to be and to allow yourself that quiet is, from his perspective, that's when the demons would come. He's not talking about demons in terms of gremlins or evil. He's talking about his own shadow. So he's saying he respects the fact that I'm asking him to slow down. But he's saying, I always found that very hard, as you know. You could see that about me, to slow down in life. Because it's as though I wanted to do anything but avoid that. He says, I came in fully charged up, a bit like a Duracell bunny, into life. He said it was very much my energy and how I lived. But he said, yes, those moments where the battery sort of unwinds and needs to recharge itself. He said those were the times where over decades I often turned to different things to try to avoid the feelings that I was feeling. So he's leading me to the link with drink, the link with drugs, the link with addiction, basically. So, okay. Can we go back now and just let people know how you're looking today, Robin, before we go into all of that? He's saying, sure, okay. He's saying, I always needed a good manager. Okay, it's like he's okay with people. When I say manage, not in a controlling way, but he said, I always needed managing. You see, he's off on a different direction again now. He's talking about his wives. I believe he had a number of different wives. And he's saying that in many ways, they had a real job managing him. But he did appreciate the efforts that every single one made to trying to keep him on track. And he said he wasn't always easy to live with. And he sees that. And it's as though he's wanting to say, to apologise or to say sorry to his wives. And that he, having done the life review now that he's had in spirit, it's as though he really sees that he wasn't always easy to live with. He said it's not easy to live with a coiled up Duracell bunny. And it's also not easy to live with a coiled up Duracell bunny when it comes down. So it's like he said, what I'm learning now in spirit is the middle way, the middle ground, learning about balance. He's taking me to, I don't know whether he did this in life, but he's showing me he's doing it in spirit. He's showing me Tai Chi. It may be more than Tai Chi. It's just this is what I understand Tai Chi to be. Eastern martial arts, okay? And he's showing me like a pose, and he's quite proud of the fact that he can do this pose. And of course, Tai Chi, martial arts, it's all about harnessing your energy, but it's also about balancing your energy and being strong enough to just sit in your core and feel whatever it is that you're feeling, and channel that in a balanced way. So he's quite interested in martial arts, and he seems to be practicing. He's saying, I'm practicing with a master, and I do feel it's a nod to Bruce Lee. Okay, it's a nod to Bruce Lee. I think that's who I'm seeing. It's Bruce Lee's been sort of hovering with regard to heartsquad, so I think that's who we're seeing here, Bruce Lee. I'm just being shown there is a master teacher in spirit who is helping Robin to master his energy, because he's saying, let's put it this way. He's saying, I always had this energy which was quite scattered, high vibration, high energy, fast. And he's saying, and then that got contained into a very, a small little physical body. And he's saying that was a wild ride, trying to contain all of that energy in this small body. But he's saying, now I'm in spirit. I am still that very, he's showing me a very wild, fast moving spirit. He's saying people have this impression that when you go to spirit, you just become, uniform, you're all sort of just lying flat. Rest in peace, people say, he's saying, and it's like we're motionless and we're just sort of uniform and everything's the same. He's saying it's not like that. He's saying there is such differentiation in spirit as there is in life. But he's saying, think of it this way, guys. He's saying, on earth, whatever your spirit is still having to be contained in a physical body. So it's being concentrated down, or it's being confined in some way. But he's saying, when you pass over, your spirit is free. So if you have a fast spirit like I do, and he's just showing me, it's just like fast energy. It's all I'm saying. It's like a whirlwind of energy. He's saying, I'm still a bit like that. I'm still like that in spirit. So, but he's saying, but I am learning. They're not trying to change me. It's more my lesson and what I want to learn as a spirit being to what does it feel like to be balanced? What does it feel like to be very measured? What does it feel like to be in control in that way? So he's saying, I'm having a ball with this. I'm having a ball. And I'm learning a great deal, but it's not about changing me. It's just about another expression of my soul's journey, which is still continuing, what you would call the other side of the veil, just as much as it was contained when I was on Earth. He says it's it's all very exciting still. Okay. That's a very good point, Robin. I'd never really thought of it like that. That, yeah, we do, don't we? We think of these uniform, you die, you become this uniform. No, it's not like that, he's saying. He's saying it's really interesting up here. But he's really, every time he says things like that, he's wanting to make sure people here who are watching this, that it's also very interesting on Earth, okay? So anybody that's watching this that is feeling down, depressed, God forbid, suicidal, he's saying, hang on to the life that you have, okay? Hang on to the life that you have, because it's good to be alive on Earth as well, okay? He doesn't want anybody following his example. He's saying, I would never, ever want that, okay? And he's now, can I ask you a little bit about the suicide? I'm not going to ask any details about how it happened, although it's been reported anyway. I'm going to just ask you your views on it, Robin, okay? Right, the one thing he's wanting to stress very much is linked into what he was just saying about energy being very fluid. Energy is very fluid. He says emotions are very fluid. Moments are very fluid. You can't ever catch on to any moment, can you? He's saying it's very hard to do that. So he's saying, realize that however you feel in any one moment, this too shall pass. He's saying, when I felt that I had no way out and I committed suicide in the way that I did, he said that was a moment, he's almost saying it was like a moment of madness. Although he realizes that at soul level, he is also here now to teach people to try to harness their energy better so that they don't, as I say, follow his example, that there is always light at the end of any challenging period of life. This is what he's trying to get through, that however you feel in any one moment, however dark it feels, however desperate it feels, and he's saying that feels so real at that moment. He said, if I could have just maybe hung on a little bit, even for, even for the next morning, he's saying, the sun would have come back out, there would have been a different energy in town, I could have ridden the wave, is what he's saying. So he's saying it's very easy to go under when a big wave hits you in terms of emotion. And if you're predisposed to think about suicide as an option, because he's saying some people never even have that in their mind anyway, please realise that you can learn to ride the waves. You don't have to let the wave take you under in the way that I did, okay? He's very... he seems very, I want to say sad. It does feel like a sadness. Sadness is maybe not quite the right word, Robin. What's the right word? He's talking about his family, his children, his wives. It's like he's, what's the word I want to say? I almost sort of want to feel he feels very responsible for the sadness that he brought into their lives because of his action. And he never would have wanted that, okay? Because he says, I was always about making people laugh. I was always trying to, I was about trying to lift people up. I was about trying to let people see the light, to have a laugh. He said, laughter is the best medicine in the world. And so he says, I don't want to be defined by how I died. I want people to remember the laughter and the humour, and that on most days that can get you through. And on days where you think it isn't going to get you through, ask somebody to maybe hold your hand. But you have to open up. It's not other people's responsibility to always see what's going on. Because he's saying the problem with mental health and with depression is that it is often so hidden. And it's hidden very cleverly. He's saying so many people are very clever at being able to hide it, and they're not doing it because they're doing it to protect other people. It seems to come back to this thing about people pleasing. Am I allowed to say my little story here, Robin? He said, yeah, go ahead, because it's a good analogy. Okay, let me just have a cup of tea. Hold on. He's saying, have a cup of tea, guys. He's not being flippant. He literally is saying, it's almost like when those moments hit where you just feel like there's no way out, he's saying, breathe. Hold somebody's hand. Make a cuppa, okay? Pick up the telephone. Ride the wave. Do anything but go under with the feeling in that one moment that can change everything, that doesn't always have to be followed through. So my story, linked into what Robin's just said, is that I have a history of suicide in my family. My grandmother committed suicide in quite an unpleasant way, and there have been a few other incidences with family members, let's put it that way, who have attempted it. Not me, okay, not my husband, not my children, anything like that. So it's like, anyway, I don't want to say any more about it. The point is that I understand the whole vibe of suicide, and also every single member of my family has suffered from depression. I think I'm talking birth family here, including myself. I've had episodes of depression. And anybody that has had depression knows that it's like a latent thing that can come back. What you learn to do is you learn to recognise the signs when it's coming back, and you nip it in the bud. And you have to find your own coping mechanisms for that. And that can be many things, okay, many things. For me, what helps me to try and keep me on track is obviously my spiritual beliefs, my work, exercise, eating well, sleeping well, friendship, it goes on. But anyway, because the seasons have just changed here and we're facing another long, hard winter, my mood always starts to dip a bit this time of year. And it had dipped a bit literally within the last couple of weeks, because we had this day a few weeks ago where they told us it was the last day of summer, and it was the most glorious day. We were out in the garden, and I remember lying in the garden thinking, God, you know, this literally is the last day, because we had weeks of rain following it. And it's exactly what's happened. And we're now into autumn, winter. That was the last day of summer. But because it was so defined, it was literally like one day summer, sunshine, warmth. The next you're into, 4 or 5 months of winter. I could feel my mood was like dipping. And I mentioned it to my husband. I said, I'm feeling a little bit low. And, not worried about myself, not about to do anything, nothing like that, not needing to go to the doctor, not there's anything wrong with going to the doctor, able to cope with it, just recognising it, okay? And then today, just as I'm about to do this video, I went downstairs making a cup of tea, and I was just talking to John, my husband, and he said, oh, you seem a lot brighter, he said, and he alluded to the fact it was almost like, you seem brighter, you obviously aren't depressed anymore. Not that I would call it depressed, I was just low mood. And I thought, isn't that interesting? And how perfect is it that he says that today? Because the fact that I had a smile on my face, okay, and that I was, upbeat in that particular moment in the kitchen, doesn't mean that there can't be an underlying thing that's there. And that's the thing that Robin's talking about, okay? The fact that those people that just put a smile on their face, and the people that sometimes are very strong, like he was, it's hidden. And why it gets hidden is because we want to put the smile on our face, because that's what we think people expect of us. How many people is this resonating with? Okay? So, it's a very good point, Robin. Look at his beautiful face. Let's put the face back up for us to see him. Isn't he gorgeous? He's got such a sensitive, he's so kind. Can I embarrass you now, Robin? I'm going to just sum you up in terms of the energy that I'm feeling sitting here. I never met him. I'd have loved to have gone and seen one of your shows. Why didn't I do that? Oh, anyway, I didn't do that. But anyway, what am I feeling about you in terms of a soul, in terms of an essence that here? Just kind and gentle. And he's a strange mixture, because even though I've just said, like mental illness and depression can be hidden, it's like on one hand, he's a real open book, but on the other hand, it's like there are certain chapters that are closed, although he's happy for us to go into it today. He's a contradiction. So he's got very bright, very articulate, obviously, very intelligent. He's saying, oh, shush, Okay, where do you want to go now? Where should we go now? Let me give people a message, he says. Okay. Right. Robin. World Mental Health Day. He said, I'd have liked to have been in that ad. Okay, he's talking about the advert that Princess Diana mentioned on the video I did yesterday or the day before. There's a mental health awareness advert that came out 2 days ago, and it features what we're calling the Fab Four. Okay, he's saying, yeah, call them the Fab Four. Anybody that talks about mental health is good in my book. Prince William, Prince Harry, Meghan, Kate, and a whole load of other celebrities, some of which are mostly UK-based, others are more wider known. Might have got Glenn Close in it, can't remember. But anyway, he's saying he'd like his face to have been on that, but in a way, it's almost as though his face is more powerful than actually that advert, I think, Robin. Okay, what's your message? You say you want me to speak now? How interesting. It's like he almost becomes a bit tongue-tied when you put him on the spot. Just speak through me. To all those who battle, to all those who are facing challenges, to all those who feel lost, to all those who feel as though life doesn't understand them, To all those who feel as though they haven't found their tribe, I send you love. I also send you laughter. And if I was here in physical, he's showing me, it's like tickling. I think he liked tickling. It's like he's wanting to tickle us, like tickle. Okay, thank you, Robin. He's saying in moments when people feel very alone, he wants to talk about aloneness. When people feel very alone, because he says that's a huge thing surrounding this whole subject as well. When you feel very alone in your thoughts, you feel as though nobody will understand. He's saying, I will. And he's saying, I will help you choose the option that keeps you here on earth with those people that love you. And I will help to try and steer you towards programs and options that can support you, rehabilitate you, strengthen you, and show you the beauty of the world again. He's saying, from where I am now, I really appreciate the beauty that is and was on earth. And he's saying, when life gets difficult and you've got a heavy burden, you forget about the beauty, you forget the positivity, you forget the kindness in others. He's saying, take my hand and I'll help to remind you of that. And I'll help to bring people to you that can help you, that can show you brightness and laughter again. He's saying, hey, sometimes we can go and see a film as well. And he's showing me taking the hand of various people, and as though he's wanting to sit in the cinema with them. And he's making me laugh. He's got like this huge, great big bucket of popcorn, and he's like stuffing his face with the popcorn. And he's saying, if you need a chaperone, if you're on your own, I'll take you, okay? And it's like he's being serious. I mean, there's obviously a deep message here, but he's being funny as well, because he's wanting us to realise that it's like he's coming across like a friend. That's how it is. It's like he's saying, I'll be your friend. I'll be your friend. There's a song on the tip of my tongue about friendship. Oh, I'm going to have to look it up, guys. Hold on, I'm going to pause the camera. It's a song he's giving me about friendship. Well, hold on. I've got the song. He's referring to You've Got a Friend by James Taylor. It says, when you're down and troubled and you need a helping hand and nothing is going right, close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running. Winter, spring, summer or fall, all you've got to do is call. If the sky above you should turn dark and full of clouds, and that old north wind should begin to blow, keep your head together and call my name out loud, and soon you'll hear me knocking at your door. How beautiful is that? It's a lovely song, actually. I'd forgotten all about that song. That's the song he's giving you. He's giving us. So he's coming through as a... he's wanting to come through more as a friend, okay? That's his energy. He's wanting to come through as a friend. He's offering a hand of friendship rather than wanting to come through with some, I don't know, esoteric truths, although I do think he's a very spiritual, deep man. But today he's coming through, he's just wanted to offer the hand of friendship. And he's saying, I know, I get it. But he's saying, don't do what I did, okay? There is always a way for you to get through any of those troubled moments. And what you really need sometimes is just a friend who understands. I understand, okay? It's a bit like he's offering himself up. In the UK, we've got a association called the Samaritans, where you can call if you're feeling very troubled. And it's literally like he's on the end of the line, okay? So, but what he wants to do is, it's not that he's saying, again, he's wanting to lighten the mood again now. He's saying, come on. He's saying, I talk the whole time. He's saying, I never stop talking. So he said, I'm not the best therapist. He's talking about therapist stroke counsellor. He said, I used to go to them, but he's talking about, so it's more that he's wanting to help you do things to help yourself, which is why he's showing me you and him in the cinema, or you and him in the bowling alley, or you and him going for a walk in the park. Nobody else needs to know what's going on here. It's not about you having to say to people, oh, I've got Robin Williams here with me, but you're going to feel it. How are people going to know when you're around Robin? He said, oh, they're going to know. I do have this thing with tickling. I don't know. It's just sort of like, I wonder whether there might be like a little sensation that you get. You know, sometimes we get like a little tickle, or I've got one now. I've literally got one now on my back. I want to scratch my back there. So that's like him. But it doesn't have to be that. It could be anything. Okay. All right. Let's see. Anything else to say in this session? Talk to me about laughter. He's showing me Charlie Chaplin. Did I say Charlie Chaplin in another video recently? Yeah, I did. I think Audrey Hepburn bought through Charlie Chaplin. There's a Charlie Chaplin thing going on. He's saying I like the way that Charlie Chaplin used to move. You know, he's like, yeah, like this. He had this sort of. He's saying that was all about balance, really, wasn't it? Charlie Chaplin had that way of sort of like moving. It's like, am I left? Am I right? It's like, oh. So he showed me Charlie Chaplin. I think he liked the old black and white films, Laurel and Hardy, all that type of stuff. Who do you surround yourself with up there? He says a wide assortment of people. I do get the energy of Kate Spade, but I don't feel she's ready to come through yet. Okay, so I do feel though that he is met with her. They have sat together. I feel that there's a connection there between the two of them. She's going to come through probably at another time. Charlie Chaplin. Who else? Who am I seeing around you, Robin? Bruce Lee. We said that. I get the feeling that he misses some of his friends who are still alive on Earth. So, of course, he wouldn't want to accelerate their passing. He wants them to live their lives. But I mentioned Alan Alda earlier, didn't I? There seems to be a real thing with Alan Alda for some reason. I don't know what that's about. He's saying, what's that about then? He's saying, oh, I always sort of, I looked at him and it was like he was a different species. He said he was just like this laid-back guy. He's saying, of course, he had his moments. I'm sure he does have his moments. But certainly the persona of Alan Alda, you know, the MASH character, is very laid back. He says, like, he's almost like the antithesis of me. He says, we're almost like the two terrible twins, you know. There feels like a brotherly type energy with those two. I don't know what height Robin Williams was. Was he small? Because I know Alan Alda was very tall, so there seems to be like a bit of a comedic thing that they looked very different in terms of their body shapes as well. I don't know, it just seems to amuse Robin anyway. What else? He's saying, I've been honoured to meet Princess Diana. In spirit, he's talking about. He loves Diana. I'm being led to writing with him. I was thinking about music, but I'm being led more to writing. I don't know whether he was an avid book reader or writer, journaler. I'm being shown him writing, or being interested in people that write. I might even say journalism. Interesting that I read out this piece that Alan Alda had written at the start of this session. Seems to be very interested in words. A wordsmith. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to pause my camera because it needs charging up, and we might come back and do another 10 minutes. We'll see how we go. I'm going to go and have a coffee and come back. He's saying, oh, careful of that stuff. That can wire you up. No, I'll be all right, Robin, with just one. Okay, back in a moment, guys. Bye. Okay, so the picture looks like it's gone. It's changed. What have I done? That's better. I had you on close up. Right, so I've had my cup of tea, had a cup of coffee actually, and I had a Kit Kat. And Robin was saying, yeah, have the chocolate bar, you know. It's like life's for living at the end of the day. Don't worry about a chocolate bar here and there, you know, enjoy it. He's saying he misses chocolate. And then I thought, well, I wonder what we're going to be doing next. And I turned on my laptop because I had to charge up my camera. And an email came in from one of you, Jenny in New Zealand. I think it's fine for me to say your name because I think it looks like I can share this. And it's a message linked into Kate Spade. And then another message came in wishing me good luck with this video that I'm making now, because I sent out a request for people to hold the light whilst I was making it on my Facebook page, and they mentioned Kate Spade. And I thought, oh, okay. And then I go make myself a cup of coffee and I noticed that I've got this mug, which feels very sort of Kate Spade-ish. Obviously not something she's designed, but she was into her colour. I just printed out her photograph. She's all into the colours. So, although I have just said a few moments ago, I don't think she's ready, she is telling me otherwise. And we're just going to do a short little introduction to Kate, okay? So it's not going to be as long as with Robin. I've got some incense going as well, in case you can see smoke drifting across the screen. So I'm going to read out firstly a little bit of this email that just came in, just to show you the synchronicities of everything. So this person is saying, she's saying various things to me, but then she's also just mentioning a little occurrence that happened. And she says, a few weeks ago in my kitchen, I had a surprise visit from a feminine energy who crossed over this year. She wrote this to me last year. She's resent it to me. An email that she sent last year, she's just resent it, literally this moment. So she said, a few weeks ago in her kitchen, she had a surprise visit from a feminine energy, a master of her craft, a creative artisan. She really wanted me to get her message, to value my worth, to appreciate the scale of what I will create, to protect it, to not give the control of what I create away to others. She wanted me to share this message with you, a clue to who she was. A woman who had feminine energy in spades wrapped up in a bag. So that's Kate Spade. Now, it's interesting also because I keep saying I know nothing about these people. I don't know anything about Kate. I'm a British and I'm not into high-end fashion. When Kate Spade died last year, because half of my clients are American, over half actually, I kept getting messages in from a lot of you saying, oh gosh, have you heard that Kate Spade has died? And I was like, Kate who? I hadn't heard of her. I'm sorry, I just hadn't heard of her. She's like, it's fine, don't worry. So I've just Googled her because Robin's the one who keeps saying you've got to talk to Kate Spade as well. That's his guest basically. So he's wanting us to meet Kate. So I go onto Google, I look at Kate Spade, and if you just type in Kate Spade, what you come up with is nothing about her. It's all about the brand. It's all about the clothes, the bags. I had to really scroll down to actually find Kate Spade, the person. So in many ways, it almost feels like who she was as a person got swallowed up by the brand. But then she's also saying, protect your brand as well. So I think she's very proud of the brand that she created. And there's also a nod to any of us that are creative people to protect your work, because we do live in an age whereby people are very ready to take your ideas and make it their own. I've had it happen to me with what I do, and it's very hurtful when it happens, when people really just like do a straight copy of who you are, what you do. the products you make. It's extremely hurtful. It's not really a compliment at all, actually, when it's done so blatantly. So she's saying the same here about, you know, she's put a lot of effort into the brand that she created, and she wants it protected. And the same way that if you're an author, or if you are, or anything that you create in life, you know, she's saying protect it, you know. And then what happened was I put my memory card back into this camera that I'm filming on, and for the first time ever, it came up with memory card locked. Well, I know it's possible to lock your memory card to protect what's on it, but I hadn't done anything to it. And I was like, oh. So I thought, what's that all about? So I then had to go and put a new memory card into this so I can speak to you now. And I said to Kate, what's all that about then? And she said, it's all about creating memories, that you have to protect your memories. And of course, it's quite sad because Robin Williams, one of the conditions he had with the LBD that we talked about earlier, one of the side effects is memory loss. So Kate is here talking not about memory loss, but she's talking about how important it is that you create good memories, okay? You create good memories for the people that you leave behind, and also you create good memories for the soul that you are, so you then take them into the next realm with you as well. So that was quite lovely, I thought. Anything else to say before we get going with Kate? The one other thing she's just brought to my attention, she just said, tell them what you were just doing. Because when I was waiting for this battery to charge up, I knew it wouldn't take that long, and I didn't have time to start any session work or do anything substantial. So I went into the bathroom and I've scrubbed the bath because my daughter is into fake tanning. So the bath was covered in fake tan, and I know she should have cleaned it, but I'm a mum. Mums out there understand. Sometimes it's just quicker to do it yourself, okay? So I was scrubbing the bath, and I could feel Kate there with me, and she was laughing, and she was saying, right, come on, then go back and do this work here. And she's saying, I get it, I completely get it. And she's talking about the fact that people don't see each other as human beings with all the different aspects of who they are. So she was saying, I used to do the cooking, I used to have to clean, but I also was able to create amazingly beautiful things like this. You're able to go back and channel me now and do what you do very well. But equally, 5 minutes ago, you were cleaning the bathroom. There seems to be a message coming through from both of them, which is that half of the problem with mental illness, because Kate suffered from depression as well, which is why she took her own life as well, by the same method that Robin did, by hanging, seems to be this thing about how we compartmentalise people. You know, that Kate was this, Robin was that, I am this, you are that, but yet we are many different, we have many different aspects to our person. And if what I've written down here is give people permission to see all of you. I don't mean all of you in terms of, you know, warts and all. I'm just talking about don't let other people pigeonhole you, that you are just that you're just a handbag designer, that you're just a fashion designer, that you're just the brand. You know, with Robin, that he's just the funny entertainer. Give ourselves permission to see people as they truly are. So I guess there's also a little bit about stop putting people on pedestals, you know, see the whole of somebody, seems to be the message that's coming through. But she's saying for other people to see all of you, you have to allow that also. You know, it's like breaking down the barriers. It's fine that I've just been scrubbing the bath and now I'm back here sitting. I wasn't sitting cross-legged in a yogic position, meditating, waiting for my battery to fire up, okay? I went and did something which is another aspect of who I am. But because I can do this work, I can now dip back into it, okay? In the same way that other people dip in and out of what they do, but they also have different aspects of their life. Okay, let's bring Kate in formally and welcome her. I have to say, Kate, I love the top that you're wearing in this photograph. Let me show it to you again. Look at that. That's my sort of clothes. Why didn't I know about this? Am I allowed to say also, Kate, here that one thing that Archangel Metatron has always taught me to teach other people, but equally to teach myself, is that I'm a colour therapist, so I love the colours that, you know, that she was just working with colour all the way through. I work with colour all the time as well in different ways, but it's about being the colours. That's what Archangel Metatron always says. He says you have to be the colours. You have to be able to embody what yellow stands for. You have to equally be able to embody what brown stands for or red stands for. I'm not going to go into that in this video because it's a huge subject. All colours have different properties. All colours have a positive aspect and a more challenging side. So, you know, when you are averse to a particular colour, it says that you've actually got to do some work with regards to the properties and the qualities that that colour has. So in many ways, I'm saying yellow here. I mean, she's wearing yellow and black. Yellow is a colour that's linked into sunshine. It's linked into joy. It's linked into happiness. It's the colour that we recommend for people that are feeling sad and down. It's the colour that helps lift you up in the same way that sunshine lifts you up on a gloomy day. But it's one thing wearing yellow. It's another thing to then try and take it a step further in terms of what is yellow trying to teach you. Yellow is trying to help you to understand what is it that makes me happy. Am I doing what makes me happy? Am I around people that make me happy? Am I helping myself to be happy? Or am I surrounding myself with toxic, dysfunctional situations that are going to lower my mood? You know, that's what Metatron means by you've got to be the colours. So wearing the colour is one thing, it definitely helps, but you've also got to follow through, okay? So it's like layers of healing work. So I do feel, though, that she's wanting to bring through the colour yellow for us all. So as I've got the sprays, let's spray some yellow. Kate, should we do that? Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to spray what we call the Sunrise New Dawn, which is a healing spray we create, which is helpful for lifting mood. It's got a beautiful citrus energy to it. It's got crystals in it. Let's bring some of that in with you, Kate. Okay, so we're just going to invite Kate across this rainbow bridge, which is now extremely bright and sparkly and yellow. It's almost like the yellow brick road, actually, is what she's showing me. I'm seeing the yellow brick road. It's as though the bridge has become the yellow brick road. Wow, how profound is that? Anybody that knows about the Yellow Brick Road and the Wizard of Oz, it's all about finding different qualities. It's about finding our heart. It's about finding our courage. It's about it was about the brain as well. I can't remember all the different qualities. Maybe I need to look it up. Seems very, very important. Wizard of Oz characters. Yeah, we had the Cowardly Lion, didn't we? Tin Man wanted a heart, the Scarecrow wanted a brain, and the Cowardly Lion wanted courage. So it's this alliance between heart, intellect, and core strength, the courage. Okay, so I'm seeing the Rainbow Bridge as the Yellow Brick Road. And I'm just inviting you across it then, Kate, to be with us. And it's like she's there like a shot, is what I'm wanting to say. And she's very comfortable with Robin Williams in spirit. He's actually got his arm around her. They're on a bench sitting beside each other, and it's like he's giving her he is giving her a comforting hug. It's like they seem to get on very well in spirit. They seem kindred spirits in many ways, and they just seem to work together for some reason. Okay, so Kate, just wanting to see how you're presenting yourself to me today. Let me just spray the Rainbow Bridge spray. So just want to focus on Kate now for one moment. It's interesting, I've got my hands like this as if in prayer, because she's saying to me that when she was on earth towards the end and she was battling with depression, she was praying for it to end. But what she really meant was she was praying for the depression to end rather than for her life to end. And it's quite sad that, you know, because I'm feeling as though it was more about wanting the pain to end and wanting the what she's showing me is like the hole, you know, the cavity, the void that she was feeling. And she's saying the discrepancy between how I was feeling as a human being, Kate, you know, was so different from, again, the portrayal of Kate Spade, the brand, Kate Spade, the persona, Kate Spade, the fashion icon, Kate, you know, all of that. There's just this huge gap between the two. So I'm seeing Kate Spade as the designer. You know, it's just like such a huge energy, and very beautiful energy. Not saying it's bad, it's not, it's a beautiful energy. But then I'm seeing Kate Spade, the human being, and it just feels how she was feeling towards the end of her life, so much smaller, and almost as though she'd become, for want of a better expression, it's not the best expression, but a little bit freaked out by almost like the scale of what had been unleashed by her own creative process, as though it had become a bit out of control in some way, as though it had become so big. Not scared by her success, because I really get the sense that she was proud, very proud of what she achieved, and she wouldn't have changed a single thing about it. But I just think it's, again, it's the mental battle. It's the differentiation between what people see and what they want to believe, and actually the person that's sitting at home on the sofa, on, you know, in their own space, who doesn't feel that, they feel something else. So and she's saying, you know, where's the bridge between the two? Where's the bridge between the two? She said that's where society needs to get to. She's bringing through this energy of we're needing to understand all of somebody's persona, all aspects of them. And she's also saying something along the lines of that when somebody is particularly creative or successful, whether they're a musician, whether they are a designer, whether they're a comedian, whether they're an actor, it's as though we elevate them to such high status positions, as though, you know, wow, look at them, what they've achieved. And although on one hand that's very good because it's inspirational and it can get other people onto their path, she's saying what it does is it seems to create a us and them type mentality, which is that other people look at that and think, I could never be that. I could never be that successful. I could never do what Kate does or Robin does, you know, or anybody else that we're putting up there. And she's saying it'd be so much more healthy for everybody just to see that they can be as successful as anybody really that they aspire to in their own way. Not everybody can be a fashion designer or stand on a stage or conduct a piano recital. For some reason she's showing me piano. But you can be very successful in your own right, whatever that means to you. So she's also saying, let's talk about success. What does success mean anyway? You know, what is a successful person? A successful person is also is many, many things. And she's showing me success, which isn't always prized by society as much, but should be, you know, people who are successful in, I'm going towards animals, rehabilitating animals, you know, animals coming in from the wild. I don't know if she had a thing about animals, but she's showing me that. She's also showing me the woman who chooses to stay at home and raise a family and do that very well. Sorry, the battery died again. There's lots of signs coming through with regard to this battery, and I'm going to talk to you about it just for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to close the video down. I was just saying that Kate was talking about that being a stay-at-home mother or father can be just as much of being a success as anything else, okay? So what basically happened then was the battery died again. So I obviously hadn't charged it up enough, but there's a message in there, guys. There's a message in there, which is that depression is very closely linked to depletion. I've talked about this before in other videos. And in fact, a good word for depression is depletion. They go hand in hand. And Kate is saying that towards the end of her life, her battery was pretty exhausted. She didn't have any more to give. So it feels as though there is a message coming through here with regard to work-life balance, but also it's to do with easing off the pressure that we have, that we impose upon ourselves to keep striving, to keep doing, and sometimes at the expense of our own health, physical health and mental health. So she is advising anyone watching who is feeling depleted that is a warning sign, and to take heed of that. And she's saying the thing is that you can do something about it when you recognize the sign that you are depleted, and you can adjust. And what Robin was talking about earlier, try and get some balance back into your life, whether that be through more sleep, going to sleep earlier, looking after yourself better, learning to say no, she's saying, boundaries, also not taking on too much, okay? So it's very much, I think there's a whole other subject here for another day. I also want to bring Kate back to talk more about colour. I think there's a lot that she wants to talk about in terms of colour, but I do get the sense with her that she still has a little bit of healing to do, again like Robin, and that her energy levels aren't completely back to full power yet. So I don't want to tire her either with this session. So I'm just going to link back in. I'm going to see if there's anything else, and then I'm going to close the session down with both of them. Okay, so just seeing them both there still sitting on the bench. Robin's very much sort of saying the bench is filled up by both of us. There's no room for somebody else. What he means by that, and he's saying it in a loving way, is he wants anybody that's watching that's feeling very depressed and thinking that suicide is the way out to realise that he wants you to stay where you are on earth, okay? And he will help you and support you and be the friend like he was talking about earlier. So it's like they're not budging up to make space for anybody else. It's sort of like, no, we're going to help support you down on earth because that's where you're meant to be, okay? So it's as though there's a team and they're wanting to help you with your own mental health battles, okay? Okay, so back to Kate. Anything else you wish to show? I don't know why she's showing me a buttercup flower. That goes back to my childhood, Kate. You know, used to put a buttercup flower underneath somebody's chin, and if it glowed yellow, I think it meant you like butter or something. But anyway, the point is, I think it's linked into happiness because it actually gives a yellow glow underneath your chin. So she's giving me the buttercup flower, which is, I don't know, seems to be symbolic in some way of an object which is very simple, very natural, very beautiful, but yet filled with that radiant yellow energy that we've said earlier helps to heal and lift the spirits. Okay. So I think we're going to leave it there, you guys, for now, and we will definitely come back. You're both very missed, but it's also lovely to know that you're still around us in spirit, and we thank you for your time today, and we honour 10/10, which is when this video is going out, which is World Mental Health Day. So thank you both for helping to speak on these subjects, and we'll definitely come back to both another time, definitely come back to both. So let's just see this rainbow bridge now, and I'm still seeing them as separate bridges, even though they're pals. For some reason they're going across their respective bridges. Kate's going back across one which looks a bit like the yellow brick road, And Robin has got this one with sort of lights either side of it, and he's doing a bit of a skip and a dance over it. He's kicking his back legs back. He's punching his fist in the air for some reason, but it's like with delight, and he's saying, I'm happy to dance across this bridge linking heaven and earth, and being there for anybody that needs me. But he's also he's just got a lovely exuberant spirit right now that I'm seeing as he goes, and he's just, bye for now, bye. Okay, he's saying, say hi to Alan for me. He's got his Alan Alda, he misses you, so it's like, say hi to Alan for me. Will do. And Kate's a bit more graceful in terms of how she's walking across the Rainbow Bridge, and just thank you for your presence. Very beautiful. Thank you, Kate. Okay, right, let's spray the earth. If you've enjoyed this video, if you've got something out of it, please just maybe light a candle for your own healing and for the healing of other people that are going through any form of mental health battle. And let's just call in Archangel Metatron at the end as well. So Archangel Metatron, we started with you, let's end with you. Just bring your light into this now too. And Metatron is saying, let us honour one another. Let us honour each other's gifts and talents, but let us also honour each person's divinity as well as their humanness. Let us embrace it all. Amen. Okay, guys, that's rounded off this week of Heart Squad videos. You might watch them in in all sorts of different orders, but just to clarify, I started it on Sunday, and I started it with, who was the first? Prince, and he brought through his son. We then did George Michael, who brought through Aretha Franklin. They're both on the same video, actually. That's video 1. Video 2 is John Lennon and JFK. Video 3 is Princess Diana and Audrey Hepburn, I think, in this order. And then the 4th video is this one that you're watching, Robin Williams and Kate Spade. So we have done 10 people in total for 10-10. And it's all about raising the frequency, opening the heart, teaching, a few laughs, a few tears along the way. I'd like to thank you for anybody that's walked through this with me. I started it on Sunday when they were running the marathon in Bournemouth, and we're ending it now at 12:30 on the 9th, and I'm going to start uploading these videos for tomorrow now. I did ask on my Facebook page that if you've enjoyed them, because I've given a lot of hours to them, maybe £1 or $1 donation, if you can afford it and if you feel called to, would be nice, as energy exchange. And I'll put the link below that, my PayPal link below that. But you don't have to, it's not compulsory. I wanted these videos to go out for anybody to see them, so that they're there whenever you need them, whether you're watching them on 10/10 in 2019 or whether you're watching them in 10 years hence. I'd like this to be a body of work that stands in its own right, and I really wish you well. The next 5 Heart Squad members I'm going to bring through, I did say for 11/11, but I'm actually going to be in America, flying off to America on 11/11 for some personal time, not working. So I don't know whether I'll have done them by 11/11, but they'll be done in November. And they will be David Bowie. I think he wants to bring Mark Bolan through. Freddie Mercury, probably Montserrat Caballé. Michael Jackson, potentially Ryan White or Elizabeth Jackson. I'm not sure. I think Ryan White. George Harrison, I've no idea who George wants to bring through. Elvis Presley, I've no idea who Elvis wants to bring through. So that will be the next tranche of Heart Squad videos. Until then, I send you lots of love. Thank you so much for all your support, all your love. Take care of each other, and namaste. Bye for now.